Welcome back aboard, streamers. You are listening to The Bloodstream, the podcast about finding weird little streaming movies, new, old, somewhere in between, finding the hidden gems, and warning you away from the absolute trash. Although sometimes, those are fun too. I am your guide to the weird and the feared, Esme Gray, and, we've been gone for a while, and, it's, been, almost a year. Took a little bit of extra time off because real life horrors. Also, there was that whole mess with Patreon and them wanting to switch to monthly billing subscriptions instead of per episode I produce, which I really wasn't comfortable with because, once again, I haven't posted any content for almost an entire year. I can't ask people to support me on a monthly basis when I'm doing that bad of a schedule. Although, to be fair, this past year of no content is a bit of an extraordinary circumstance, even for me. But the whole issue with Patreon and the Apple Store got sorted out, so I believe it's still possible to do per episode billing, which is the plan. But regardless of all that, there will always be the free episodes, and I will get into all this as usual towards the end of the show. I just wanted to let you know some of the reasons why we were not posting anything for quite a while. I mean, I wanted to get a new episode out a lot quicker. I have notes, I have episodes written down, I have movies I wanted to talk about, but stuff just kept happening, and I'm me, and I kept putting it off, and next thing I know, it's December. I know it's January as I say that, but it was December when I really started to go, I need to post an episode. Do I want to do Christmas? I didn't want to do Christmas because I have very specific reasons for wanting to do a new episode and have it be this one specifically. The movie I'm going to be talking about, I was originally going to have this episode out and posted last year for New Year's, which you will understand why once we start talking about the movie. Sorry, I have a lot of gunk running around in my head for everything from the last year, so I'm trying to get through the important things that as I remember them and actually get to the movie before this is an hour long of just me rambling. Failure at that so far, and at one point I just kind of looked at the calendar, looked at the episode I really wanted to talk about and had been putting off, and I'm like, let's just wait until the new year, do this movie, get back on track, and it just felt right to have this be the episode to come back to because new year, new me. I don't really want to get into the details here. You can figure it out for yourself. If you're a longtime listener, you noticed I introduced the show with a new name for myself. I am now going by Esme Gray. So yeah, Yes, the entire reason I wanted to do the next episode be a New Year's episode, I wanted to make a really dumb New Year, New Me joke. And here we are. Anyways, I am back, and this month's, I could actually say this year's episode, but let's just say this episode's Obscuriosity is called The Club, from, I think, 1994? Yeah, that sounds about right. It was originally intended to be the 5th movie in the Prom Night series, but after number 4 was such a flop, the brand was considered a little bit toxic, and they reworked the whole thing to be its own thing. Quite frankly, not being called Prom Night didn't really help the box office any. I've already covered the first 4 movies for my site Triskaidekaphiles, where I do text-based reviews like this, and since this isn't available in disc form, and only available on streaming, it felt like a better fit to do this for the Bloodstream. And let me tell you, this movie gets weird. Oh, and before I forget, I want to thank Richard Glenn Schmidt and the people over at Hello, This is the Doomed Show for even making me aware that this movie existed. I had no idea there was technically a 5th Prom Night movie. Just when I thought I was free from that franchise. Well, and then there's the reboot. But anyways, so let's just get right into this and dive into a trailer.
They all wanted to do something special. So this year, the prom will be a costume ball in an old manor house with a prince and princess and a new hope for this night. Unfortunately, there is an uninvited guest.
You don't go to this school, do you? No.
And before the witching hour, he will reveal what they really are and really want. Because they brought their fears and desires with them. Hope alone can't control passion. You must beware of what you wish for. You may get it. They have no one to blame but themselves.
What's going on?
Where is everybody?
I think we should split up and look around.
Oh my God. He's been dead for 10 years.
I bet you're wondering just exactly who I am. Well, I'm gonna show you. The very incarnation of evil. Come on, put your head in there. Do it. And either you conquer your fears, or you face the consequences.
No, please.
Oh, yes!
They all wanted to belong, to be in. But nothing's as good when you get it as it was when you dreamed it. In this club, the initiation dues can be fatal. The club.
So somewhere along the line, it got into my head that this is a New Year's Eve movie, when in actuality it is, like its history would tell you, a prom night movie. But the way the entire plot hinges around time stopping at midnight, it just feels like a New Year's Eve movie to me. So it became associated with that holiday, and is why, and is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this for a New Year's month movie. Also, there are a few people who might remember this movie is the one I promised well over a year ago when I appeared as a guest on the What's Your Favorite Scary Movie podcast to talk about the movie Urban Legend. They had me on at what I had coming up, and I said, oh, for my podcast, I'm going to be talking about The Club. And I then proceeded to do exactly not that. So this is very much fulfilling an old promise that I made to no one in particular other than myself, but I may procrastinate, but I get there in the end. Also, just to wrap this up so we can get into the actual movie review, I don't remember if I actually mentioned it on this podcast, but I was on the What's Your Favorite Scary Movie podcast talking about the movie Urban Legend. So if you enjoy listening to me here, go listen to me talk with other people so it's more than just my voice. I really enjoyed being on their podcast, and it is well worth your time to go listen to their stuff if you like horror movies. You can find links on where to find their podcast and all their socials at Linktree, and I will throw a direct link into the show notes. Let's get into this. The synopsis for the movie goes a little something like this. Time stops at midnight at the senior prom for 5 students, one murderous counselor, and John. They must find the courage to face themselves. Or, when time starts again, they may find that they are joining John's club. All you have to do is commit murder, or suicide. You know what? That synopsis really spoils a whole hell of a lot of the movie. Wow! That's a lot. But we watch as a bunch of students in fancy dress all gather at a fancy mansion to have their fancy party to dance the night away. So just to be clear, this is a prom night, but very much not a prom night. Not a prom night. Evan sneaks off to the bathroom before the king and queen can be announced, or whatever, and he runs into his guidance counselor, Mr. Carver. They talk about Evan's girlfriend Amy for a bit, and it is very clear very quickly that Carver is creepily hot for his students. In fact, he has a habit of being a creepy guidance counselor, as heard in our first clip.
Mr. Carver, right? You don't look so good.
I'm fine. Never better. You don't go to this school, do you?
No.
What's your name?
John Rotman. I'm dating an Eastern girl. Lisa Resnick? Fucking hot body, huh? Almost as nice as the one you raped at Westmount High. Oh, yeah. I was there, I saw you.
Hey.
There was 7, wasn't there? Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's 7. And you murdered the last 4 when you realized that they didn't want you. I mean, but who would want you? You're a sick fucking man. But you're getting off on the killing now, right? I mean, that's the best part. It's really turning you on, but that's okay. Amy Parker. I'll bet you're going after her tonight. I'll bet you're gonna do her tonight.
How do you know all this stuff?
Because I know you. I know what kind of a sick fucking guy you are. I know lots of things. I know what a sick fucking guy you are. And I know lots of things. I know about murder. You're going to hell for this.
And this is when the weird shit starts kicking in and time stops for several of the students, including Evan, Amy, John, a few others, and the guidance counselor Carver. Up to this point, John has been mostly wandering around the edges of the plot, interacting with various characters, and just being kinda weird. He might as well just have a Jughead beanie on his head for how weird he's acting. For now, though, we're going to move on, but keep an eye on this guy. Most everyone but the main cast has disappeared from the party, so the movie is saving a ton on extras at least. Evan tries to find Amy amid all this, lack of chaos, I suppose. But Carver finds her first, and he is more than happy to take advantage of the sudden lack of witnesses. Fortunately, Evan comes across the two of them before things go too far, and he gets into a scuffle with Mr. Carver. The guidance counselor gets the upper hand, though, and puts Evan down for the time being. Amy does manage to make a run for it during all the fighting. Meanwhile, another student, Darren, is wandering around and found his way into an actual dungeon, complete with a guillotine and skeletons shackled into a chair. He trips and nearly falls into the path of the oncoming guillotine blade, and as he gets up, he sees a monstrous, distorted face that can't even legally be called human. He runs off from the horrific vision to live and die another day. Back with Evan, he's gotten back up on his feet and has resumed looking for Amy. Good news, he finds her. Bad news, she's on the other side of a glass wall and being dragged off by a robed figure. But Evan catches up with her soon enough. We get another moment of someone seeing their distorted, inhuman face when another girl caught up in this situation, Laura, pauses in the bathroom to wash her face and sees herself in the mirror. John shows up and has a little chat with Evan and Amy as they all ask the big question of, where is everyone? The few other stragglers arrive, so at least the entire cast, minus Carver, are all together at this. It feels like the plot can move ahead a little bit now. They wander the halls of Casa Loma a bit more, until they reach the main ballroom, and once again ask the big question in the next clip.
Alright, where is everybody?
We don't know.
This is crazy.
Possible's more like it.
Well, they gotta be around here somewhere.
They're gone.
Hey, don't be a putz, alright? I mean, 300 people don't just disappear.
Are we dead?
Do you feel dead?
I don't know. I've never been dead before.
Well, I don't feel dead.
How do you know what dead feels like?
You guys are screwed, man. I'm getting the hell out of here.
Look, I already tried that. Beating yourself up isn't gonna help. Let's go back.
What's going on?
I don't know. Look, there's gotta be a logical explanation.
This isn't making any sense.
All right, look.
I just heard the weirdest scream.
Evan, this is crazy. Evan, do something.
We can't get out of here. We're trapped. We're fucked.
Just
Listen,
calm
I-
down.
Just everybody calm down, okay? We gotta think this through.
I think we should split up and look around.
I think we should stick together. It's safer.
Yeah. We should all just stay right here.
Until somebody comes and rescues you.
Hey, what is your problem?
My problem?
Yeah.
Am I the only one who finds this exciting?
Oh, you think this is fun?
Oh, yeah. How many times in life does this kind of shit happen? Never. Let's have some team spirit. We have stumbled onto something very strange. An adventure of a lifetime. And I say let's explore it.
All right. We'll keep the groups as big as possible.
Okay. I'm not going with him.
Come on.
I'm not going with Kyle. I'll go with Laura.
So they split up like all good horror movie victims, and since some of the people in this movie actually have some smarts, no one trusts John. Darren and the girls find their way to what can charitably be called a library, in that it contains a lot of books. But they're all titled the same, just a vast number of different volumes in a series. Ah, they must have found the Wheel of Time book. Actually, no, they're all titled The Club, and oh no, is this a really long script? How long is this movie? Elsewhere, Evan, Kyle, and John are looking for a way out, and opening doors hoping to find one. Evan ponders why this is happening, and thinks there must be a reason. Why them out of the 300 or so other students and chaperones that were all there? Eventually, the boys get lost on their tour around Casa Loma, and John is all of a sudden lifted into the air and flung down the hallway. The other two follow, and it happens again, leading them deeper and deeper into the maze of hallways, eventually flinging John into a room that Evan and Kyle can't open the door to. So they call it a day and go in search of the girls. Speaking of which, they have found an entry for John in one of the volumes, and it looks like he's been dead for about 10 years. So now the girls go running off in search of the boys. This is why we don't split up, people. Back with the boys, Kyle admits he was going to physically hurt Laura before this all kicked off. And they pretty much state what is arguably the entire plot for the movie in the next clip.
Evan? You really think there's a reason for all this happening to us?
Yeah, I do.
I was gonna hit Laura before this all started.
Jesus, Kyle.
Yeah, look, I know it's wrong. You know, I just couldn't help it. I got so angry when she broke up with me, and she wouldn't even listen to what I was
That's no
saying.
excuse, Kyle.
So what, huh? Is this my punishment? Is that what this is all about?
Yeah. Or maybe it's a chance for you to realize what you're about to do and change it.
You mean like if we ever get out of here?
Yeah.
Darren stayed behind in the library while the girls ran off to find the boys, and he gets interrupted in his freaking out over John by something looking like himself. He gets restrained to a table, and his doppelganger reveals they were thinking of killing themselves. Faux Darren then tries out various methods that then occur on the real thing. He finally settles on Chekhov's guillotine as a method to end his life, marking this as a very late first death for a movie. Back with Evan and Kyle, they're still wandering the maze of hallways, and enter a room of doors. And if I had written this more recently than an entire ass year ago, there would probably be blueprints references in this. I don't want to disturb the flow of my writing by doing them off the cuff. But just know, in my heart, I'm making blueprints references throughout. Anyways, back in the Great Hall, I mean the room full of doors. Kyle is frustrated and wants to go back the way they came, but gets sucked off by a door into the black void. When Evan opens the door mere moments later, it's back to being just a hallway. Kyle, or a reasonable facsimile thereof, finds Laura so he can traumatize her on his own, and Not Kyle explains how he knows all about John, and tries to comfort his girlfriend by the fire. Meanwhile, Amy finds Evan, but it's pretty clear he's not actually Evan. I guess you could call him an Evanescence. I'm so sorry. The ruse fades away quickly enough when the fake Evan turns out to be Mr. Carver in some illusion caused by all this weirdness going on. Oh yeah, remember Mr. Carver? He's back, in Evan form. Just go with it, it's what happened. Anyways, now that Carver has found Amy again, he tries to continue with his little sexual assault. Fortunately, the real Evan shows up to again put a stop to it. And the further twist is revealed, that it's also not really Carver and it was John all along. What follows is a chase scene of John going almost full Beetlejuice with jokes, goofy behavior, and losing a few limbs, only to reattach them. It's high camp, yet creepy because of it, and yet at the same time, just plain goofy. And quite honestly, the highlight of the movie. After he shows up looking like Fire Marshal Bill, John obliges us by finally explaining what this is all about, by transporting us to a classroom in the next clip.
Right here at the top of the heap we have the Prince of Darkness. The very incarnation of evil!
Where are you?
He hasn't had much schooling. Anyway, I'm down here. A lowly member of the club. A disciple. An apprentice of sorts. Yes, you Bubbles in the second row. You have a question?
You're saying that there really is a...
No. Come on. I wouldn't say that if I were you because he really fucking hates it when you use his name in vain. Okay?
I just need to know. I mean, if he exists, then that means that there really is a...
Say it, and I'll rip your heart out, okay?
So you're saying that there is one?
I can't answer that.
But by not answering...
And this is what it's all about. Doubt. Doubt in what you believe in. Doubt in yourselves. This is our little way of testing you.
Well, what do you mean?
Weren't you going through a little bit of a crisis?
You mean Carver?
You were afraid he was gonna rape old Amy here. And ultimately you were afraid that after he was done raping you, well, he was gonna kill you.
So this is about fate?
Will you risk your life to save Amy here? And you? Will you submit and pray he doesn't kill you? Or will you fight?
What happens here decides what'll really happen.
Now you're catching on.
Why now? Why us?
Why now? Why us? It's not just you. It's everybody.
Just exactly how did you get into this line of work?
I committed suicide. That kind of enrolls you in the service. Suicide or murder. Either way, you're pretty much damned for eternity.
So you have no choice.
Let's just say you know who made me do it. We stop time and screw around every once in a while. And either you conquer your fears, or you face the consequences.
This is about fate?
You just don't remember it from one time to the next. But we do. We add it all up, and we decide whether you get to live or whether you die.
So they finally figure it out. This is a battle between their good and evil sides. They've been doing these trials off and on, and eventually the balance tips one way or another, and it is decided whether they live or die. Or something. Despite being explained to us, it's still vague and weird and inconsistent at best. But, you know what? I can roll with it for now. Good side versus evil side, whichever one wins, live or die, make your... No, wrong franchise. Back to the plot. John threatens Amy, but Evan puts it together that he doesn't really have any power aside from the power of fear. Evan and John get into a duel, and Evan leans into his confidence over his fear. He manages to hold his own while John keeps trying to be all threatening and demonic. Since he is having not much luck with Evan, John shifts his attention back to Amy, who is not so much in the confidence department right now. He also shifts his form back into Carver's to prey on her fears. The trio fight back and forth for a while, and eventually Amy runs off, leaving John to taunt Evan for shits and giggles. She eventually runs into the real Carver, who is more interested in the thrill of killing her at this point. And quite frankly, he is more capable of doing it than John was. Evan yet again rushes in, and Carver thinks he's finally going to go for the hat trick and beat Evan once again. However, Carver fails to anticipate Evan using the torch he's carrying to set the guidance counselor on fire. He puts the fire out and the chase continues on. Eventually, it comes to a head when a gas-fed lamp gets broken and the torch comes back into play. And to keep this long movie from getting any longer, Carver go boom. You know, if I had a nickel for every time I have watched Kim Coates get filled up with gas, set on fire and exploded in the last year, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice. Seriously, I can't believe they mimicked this death with the same actor in Walking Dead: Dead City. I just about lost my mind when it happened, and I'm probably the only person that noticed. It is so specific, it has to have been a deliberate reference to this nothing of a movie that probably 5 people who weren't in it actually remember. Once Carver explodes, the movie rewinds, oh no, and we go all the way back to the beginning so time can start again. No one seems to have any memory of their Donnie Darko-like time bubble experience, and things play out with a lot of similarity and deja vu. The big twist comes with Laura and Kyle, who once again try to sex their way into fixing their relationship. But it doesn't go well. Again, they fight and Kyle ends up pushing her off one of the balconies, killing her. And murder gets you into the club. Here in the club, we all dead. Sorry again. As the police and amber lamps arrive, Amy heads back to get her purse and runs into Carver. And it is implied that they are about to go through all this all over again as the credits start to roll. So that wraps up the club. And as for my thoughts on it, well, to start with, I want to say this has a pretty impressive cast, at least for who they became. They're all kind of early on in their careers at this point. Maybe not so much Kim Coates, but he still goes on to bigger and better things beyond this. We've got Kim Coates, we've got Andrea Roth, we've got Zach Ward, all the rest. Like, what a collection of actors who would go places all in the same low-budget movie no one remembers. But back to the actual movie. I actually kind of dig this in its weirdness. I wish it was a little bit faster, a little bit better paced. I wish it made a little bit more sense. But the actor who plays John is delightfully campy, especially when he goes full Beetlejuice. Once the mask comes off, that character is a lot of fun in this movie, and genuinely, if you want one reason to watch this movie, it's because of John. If you want 2 reasons to watch this movie, Kim Coates exploding. But you also might have noticed there was a lack of volume of clips this episode. That's because it's not a very talkative movie. It has pockets of talk, and I grabbed the important stuff, but it's weirdly quiet otherwise. It will have long stretches where there's no dialogue, or nothing of any consequence. It's very atmospheric with a lot of wandering around and looking at the horror, which at least they had a good location in Casa Loma to utilize that space, and they did a fantastic job using that to great effect for atmosphere and physical sets, really. As for a recommendation, if you like offbeat, weird movies, well, there's others you could be watching. But if you liked Bloody New Year, this would actually make a solid double feature with that. Or if you liked the first Waxwork movie, there's a lot of similar DNA between the two, except Waxwork is kind of like these ideas done so much better. But again, they're very similar, and if you kind of dig the vibe of one, I'd at least check out the other. So that is going to wrap up our first episode of 2026. Hopefully not our only episode of 2026, because as I said, I have a bunch of movies I've written down, some notes for a handful of others. Sadly, the only episode I have solidly done that is just waiting to be recorded is a Christmas movie. So that's a little bit further down the road, unless I want to be completely off the wall. So that's going to wrap things up for this week, and if you have enjoyed what you've been listening to, you can find all our episodes on all the major podcast platforms. Just do a search for The Bloodstream, and we're the podcast that is not about medicine. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or just want to recommend a movie for me to check out, you can send us an email at thebloodstreampodcast@gmail.com. That is thebloodstreampodcast, all one word, @gmail.com. There's also a Facebook group where I keep everyone updated on what's going on with the show, post new episodes, and you can also leave comments and questions there if you have any. And if you would like to support my poor life decisions, you can do so at patreon.com/thebloodstream. For just the low price of $1 per episode, you get early access to episodes as I post them. And if you support at $2 per episode, you get that and whatever bonus content I choose to create. Right now, that's just, outtake episodes, and I'm kind of looking into more stuff to do. Keep an eye out on that. I appreciate any support at any level. And remember, you have nothing to fear but fear itself, and open flames near broken gas lines.
Don't worry. It'll only hurt.
A lot.